Hey gardeners, today I'm planting up the front curve of my garden with Cleome and Petunias that I grew from seed. I'm excited to create a spectacular spring display full of color. Let's get planting. Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and post this on your social media outlets. Okay, so it is March 13th. I was already just in the backyard working on some urns for planting up those vintage urns for spring. I'm ready to start working on this front curve. Now our typical last frost date is March 12th. I have looked ahead on the weather forecast for the next 10 days, and it's looking really, really good. So I'm really excited. So we're going to be working on this front curb, which is a main focal point. My house is located on a corner, and this is an area where lots of people walk by. So I like to have it, nice and beautiful and colorful. So let me show you what we're going to do here. Okay, so my house is on a corner, just like this. And you can see that main front bed is a real focal point for the garden. And I typically like to do a lot of annual color there. We've already got a few things going. We've got Dusty Miller, which we're going to keep. And I recently dug up all of my pansies and violas over there and I passed them on to my friend Kristen. So I really want to go back and fill in this area. So we're going to leave all the Dusty Miller. Of course, we're leaving all the daffodils, which are just absolutely beautiful. This one seems especially vibrant. Super pretty. So we're going to leave that. Now a couple of things going on here. This right here is a hardy hibiscus that will come back and be really big in the middle of the summer. Over here we have a few asters, grape queen asters. We've got some artemisia tucked back there. We've got some Texas rock rose. We've got some penstemon. We've got a lot going on. This right here is an old lantana. And in the past, I've definitely just filled it in with a ton of annuals that are all low growing. This year I want to mix it up a little bit. And everything I'm going to be adding, I grew from seed. So let's chat about that. Okay, so growing from seed, really happy. That was one of my huge goals this year, is to really be able to fill in my gardens with things I grew myself to really save on money and be more budget conscious. And it's worked out pretty well this year. I'm pretty proud. So a few different things that we're going to be doing. We are going to be starting some Cleome. This particular variety is called Rose Queen Cleome. And this seedling was struggling not long ago. It's doing much better now that I potted it up, moved it outside. It's way happier. And this is going to get about 2 feet tall with lots of spidery blooms, absolutely beautiful. And it's going to look great as a taller, more cottage garden element in this area. And then we're going to backfill it with Shockwave deep purple petunias that I also grew from seed. And these have a really bright color and tone to them. So I'm going to go ahead and start placing these out. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to give you the details on both of these varieties. Okay, Rose Queen Cleome is a striking tall annual that brings height and texture to the garden. It features delicate, spidery pink blooms that cluster at the top of long, sturdy stems, attract pollinators like bees and butterflies. It thrives in full sun and prefers well-draining soil. Once established, it's drought tolerant and requires moderate watering. It typically grows 3 to 5 feet tall and spreads about 1 to 2 feet wide, making it a great backdrop or focal point in garden beds. Shockwave deep purple petunias, on the other hand, offer a bold, rich, velvety purple blooms that spill beautifully over garden edges. These petunias are compact and vigorous, reaching about 7 to 10 inches in height and spreading up to 3 feet. They thrive in full sun, need regular watering, especially in hot weather. With their trailing habit and long-lasting blooms, they're perfect for filling in garden spaces for continuous color all season long. Okay, let's talk about placement. So I want it to feel natural with a little bit of structure. So I started by placing the Cleome rose Cleome, and I did little groupings, so no plant is by itself. So I have a couple there, couple there, couple there, and then a trio here. And those will add a lot of color, a lot of height. You can see like they're not really doing much of anything now, and they're still pretty just with the green foliage, which is great. Then I went back in and filled in with this Shockwave deep purple. Now let me show you the tendency of this Shockwave purple. It does this. So see how it spiders out? Makes for an excellent ground cover. So I space those out throughout with the idea that they will create this thick, luxurious mat of this kind of pinky purple color, which will be really bold and vibrant over here. I think it'll be really nice. That color will contrast really well with that Dusty Miller behind it. Okay, so let's get planting. We are going to be adding in plant tone. I wish I had flower tone, but I don't right now. I want to use what I already have, and we'll be adding plant tone to all of these as we plant. So let's get going. So in this area, I feel really good about the soil. The soil I've just built quite a while over time. It's in really good shape, which is really nice. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in each area by really placing the Cleome first. And what I want to do is, typically I go in with my hory knife first all the time. And this year, I want to be able to aerate the soil a little bit more. So I'm using this kind of pitchfork situation. And this is a tool that belonged to a grandfather, a great-grandfather. So that's kind of the goal with that. Loosen it up a little bit instead of the hory knife. Now the hory knife is really great for getting through different things, but I think this will work out well. Now, these Cleome have not been in these potted up containers for very long. So I'm going to work hard not to really disturb the roots very much and just kind of get them nestled in place just like that. This whole bed has drip irrigation to it, which is glorious, especially in the heat of the summer. So see, I'm just really coming in with the fork. Now, if I was having to dig bigger or deeper holes, I don't know if this would work as well. But it really just loosens it up. Oh man, got all kinds of critters in here. Lots of worms. And these roots you're kind of seeing over here coming up, those are the hibiscus roots. They extend pretty far. And we'll say, I think Cleome does better for me in containers. Sometimes it doesn't do well in the ground. So we'll see how it does. If it doesn't do well on the ground this year, then I need to remember that for the future and only plant it. Only plant it in containers. And I think that's because sometimes it gets waterlogged from all the clay that I have in my garden. But petunias always do really well here. And when I'm putting my petunias in here, we're really going to take the time to spread out the stems a little bit because we want them to go everywhere. Remember, take the time to spread it out a little bit. I also feel like using this guy creates less damage on my drip lines. Now, I don't typically have the opportunity to buy annuals at their mature points. I typically either grow them myself or buy them as smaller plants and allow them to grow on. So I feel like sometimes it's hard for people to envision how big a plant is going to get based on that when you have to buy them when they're small. So definitely take the time to do your research. But if you're someone like me and you like cottage garden styling and feel, then overgrowing and things blending with one another will be right up your alley. And so the combination of these really whimsical cleomes and then having these petunias crawl through them will be absolutely beautiful. Now I'm pretty sure that had I gone and bought all of this from a nursery, it would be looking at minimum $200, potentially $300. Because the cleomes, I've got 9 of them over here. It's a lot. Buying 9 cleomes, that's pricey. And then these petunias aren't your just standard petunias. The shockwaves expand beautifully and spread out wonderfully. Digging up something right here, and I don't want to pull so hard to disturb everything around it. Just kind of cutting the roots, trying not to cause any damage to my drip lines. My guess is that was an old lantana. And I do want to make sure that I make my way around this curve, completing the curve. In the past, sometimes I've stopped short, like right around here. It just kind of throws the look and design off. It looks way better if I work all the way around with a similar planting style. Now, there are additional perennials tucked in throughout that make different aspects of it look different, but having these petunia and stuff, petunia and cleome and stuff, golly, but petunia and cleome throughout is a massive help to maintain a little bit of consistency. I don't want to say uniformity because this is definitely not a goal, but consistency of color and texture with just pops of additional different perennials throughout. These petunias are wilting just a little bit. This is a really warm day today. We're in the 80s, which is ridiculous, y'all. Mid-March and in the 80s. We're gonna get these mulched and well watered. They'll be okay. All right, last cleome going in. Worm dancing around. Like he doesn't know what to do, where to go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply the liquid fertilizer. And I got one of those old school Miracle Grow sprayers. And I'm just pouring out because I had been using it in the backyard. So I have some of the Proven Winners premium water soluble fertilizer. I bought it several years ago, like on a big sale on like Amazon or something. So this is just me finishing it up. but it's supposed to be a big boost for blooms. And I do want to kick this into gear. I want to kick all of these flowers into gear and get them growing. Of course, got some of that blue stuff everywhere. And you just put it in the container and then you hook this up to a water supply. And you spray. And I'm not just spraying just the flowers that I planted, spraying in general areas. So it is hitting some of those perennials as well. I find that this time of gardening is really hard for me every year because I'm in this transition period where I'm half inside and half outside. And I'm way better at focusing on either everything inside or everything outside. So like I just noticed yesterday, I had forgotten to water seedlings. A lot of them had dried really bad. I think they're okay. But I think I need to start setting some calendar reminders so I can get that taken care of. Now I'm watering all this before I put my mulch, just because in my mind it makes more sense. It's easier for these nutrients to get down to the plants. I think you could still just put the mulch first and it would be fine. Okay, and last thing I'm going to do, and I'm probably going to get my butt all wet now, so I'm going to come through with mulch and mulch around the base of these plants to help retain moisture. It'll be especially important for the petunias. They do not like my hot weather. And so this will help maintain temperatures, but also regulate moisture. And the mulch I'm using is just a cedar blend mulch. I think this one's from Lowe's. It's like Timberland, but I mainly use the cedar mulch blend from Living Earth. And I know I say this quite frequently, but it doesn't look like much. But about a month, it'll be stunning. Looks good with all the mulch. Got it cleaned up. Looks nice. Yeah. Happy with it. Like I said, grew it all from seed. What more can you ask, y'all? I mean, that's maybe $20 total in seed and soil. Now time, a lot of time was given for this. But yeah, pretty flippin' excited. Okay, feeling pretty good. Now these petunias will benefit from weekly fertilizing with the liquid fertilizer. Will I remember to do it weekly? Probably not, but I'll do it as long as I remember. I also have that slow release fertilizer in there to really kind of help it out. But the liquid fertilizer will go a long way to boost their growth quickly, which would be lovely. And I really look forward to all this filling in. I really am excited because this was a cohesive idea from the very beginning fruition all the way to this point. So when I was picking out my seeds and planting, I was very diligent and purposeful with the seeds I was choosing this year, and this was where these seeds were supposed to end up. So I'm really, really excited I was able to choose them, grow them, get them planted out, and now we will see what happens. Now, if for some reason we have an out of the blue freeze, this will all get covered before the freeze. It might cause some issues for the Cleome as it might weigh it down a little bit, but there's really nothing I can do at this particular point in regards to that. Like I said, I see a lot of people are like, we don't plant after Easter. That's like 4 more weeks for me. I'm not waiting 4 more weeks, especially with how hot it gets in North Texas area. Like in 4 more weeks, we're going to be like 93, 94 degrees. I mean, and I will have missed a window for a lot of my spring. So we're going to go ahead and go for it. Is it a risk? Yeah. Am I still going to do it? Yeah, totally going to do it. Will I cry if it freezes? Maybe. Hopefully not, but we'll see. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It'll be fun for you guys to watch the progression of this area over the season. really looking forward to it. As always, make sure you like and comment on the video. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow the video so much. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just drop me an emoji below, letting me know that you made it to the end of the video and you say hi. And be sure to check me out on my Patreon community. It's a group of gardeners who are all into everything She's a Mad Gardener. So it's about having a really close-knit gardening community. It's a big support for me as a creator. And there is a free tier you can join, and there are also paid tiers. Every paid tier gives you more access regarding videos, chats, photos. Really excited because everybody's starting to send a lot of photos because everybody's gardens are starting to grow. So it's very, very exciting because it's literally like being involved in each individual garden. Kind of love it. So check out Patreon if you're interested. That link is in my video description. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.